Yo, what's going on, guys? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. So in honor of the Kyrie Irving to the Lakers deal falling through, Austin Reaves would have gotten dealt in that trade. I'm pretty happy that the Lakers are keeping Austin Reaves. Obviously bummed that we didn't get Kyrie, but Austin Reaves, man, he's one of the better players that LeBron has played with in recent memory in terms of role players. I think LeBron since 2017, 2016, since those two good finals runs, really since 2018, when you had guys like Rodney Hood, George Hill, and J.R. Smith come up short for you, LeBron struggled to find good teammates to play with. I think his best recent teammate in terms of a role player, not a superstar player, probably Kyle Kuzma and KCP, but even Kyle Kuzma is better than a role player at this point. So how good can Austin Reaves get, especially besides LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and this Lakers team? So Austin Reaves actually went undrafted in 2021. He's a really cool draft story, and I think this really exemplifies how it's an advantage getting undrafted compared to being a second-round pick. If you're a second-round pick, realistically, you have just an equal amount of chance as getting onto a roster as an undrafted player. The difference is you don't get to choose your destination. You don't get to choose your location in terms of fit. You don't get to choose a competent organization. Obviously, the Lakers aren't a competent organization, or they had multiple rings with LeBron James by now. But Austin Reaves really wanted to be a Laker. So on draft night, the Pistons called him and said, hey, we're going to draft you with the 42nd pick in the draft. And Austin Reaves straight up said, don't draft me. For a guy to be willing to do that and sacrifice his name and reputation for the better of his career, I really appreciate that from Austin Reaves. He actually got a call right before the draft, and it was from the Lakers. And the Lakers basically said, hey, we don't really have a pick to draft you with, but if you end up falling undrafted, I promise you we have a roster spot. And that's what Austin Reaves did. He bet on himself, and he bet on the Lakers, and the Lakers ended up signing him last year to a two-way deal. He played good enough to make the roster, and now he's a solid piece, a potential solid trade piece, and a potential solid championship piece for a really good role player coming off the bench or being that fifth best guy on a starting five. So Austin Reaves went to Wichita State originally, ended up not really getting playing time, ended up transferring after his second year to Oklahoma, where he sat out a year, and then he was really good at Oklahoma. In his first year there, he averaged 15 points per game, and then the second year, he averaged 18 points a game on a good program like Oklahoma is nothing to scoff at. Austin Reaves in college was a good player. So he enters the NBA. Last year, he was solid. This year, upped his game to 10 points per game. So across 2 years so far, he's had 8.6 points per game, 2 assists per game, and 2.4 rebounds per game in 25 minutes a game across 2 seasons. So that's a solid role player right there. He's 6'5" and he's 205 pounds. So getting into some of his strengths and weaknesses here, his perimeter defense is one of his main strengths and is why he's so valuable in late game lineups. When you have that opposing guard, you have a guy like Damian Lillard trying to go ISO to win the game. You want a guy like Austin Reaves to switch onto him. Not only a guy who agility-wise can keep up, but a guy with some length. It's so vital for a team to have a perimeter defender who's about 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", a guy who's taller than the average point guard, but is agile enough to keep up with those point guards, because those are the players who are best at defending the three-point line in late game situations. So that's definitely a big plus. A big plus is also spacing. He's a pretty good three-point shooter. This year he's shooting 36% from three. It's a number that you would like to get increased. So his rookie year, he was shooting 32% from three, which is not good. 36% from three, it's about league average, but you see his college career, he kind of increased that average every year. If Austin Reaves can continue to be a good three-point shooter and improve upon his three-point shooting, that's really the key and the main point of this video, guys. If Austin Reaves develops a 39%, 38%, 40% from three clip at about 5 attempts a game, 4 attempts a game, that takes him from kind of an under-the-radar role player to one of the premier role players in the NBA. It's that simple. He just needs to get better at shooting the three. Obviously, easier said than done. But if Austin Reaves gets to a J.R. Smith level, or even below a J.R. Smith level in terms of shooting threes, he's suddenly an elite role player on a championship team. That's really the key for him. Another key for him is that off-ball movement. He just has a very high basketball IQ. It's hard to put into words, but if you watch Austin Reaves, his movement around the court, especially in a full court press situation where you don't want LeBron James taking the ball up full court all the time. Austin Reaves, you could tell, has always had the ball in his hands growing up, always in travel growing up, was beating those presses. He just has a very high basketball IQ in terms of beating a press, beating a trap in the half court, and moving around screens, getting into the best position for him available. And the last thing I want to touch on with Austin Reaves in terms of positives is his ball handle. A guy who's 6'5", who is kind of that shooting guard height. You don't expect them to have a great handle, and Austin Reaves legit has a very good handle. I think the only thing stopping him from being a very good player in terms of dribble handoffs and getting to the rim after 2 or 3 dribbles is his size. So I mentioned he's only about 205 pounds at 6'5". That's a very slight frame that gets him bodied once he tries to drive the lane when it's in the half-court offense. He's very good around the rim in the full-court offense. Again, in the half-court offense at Oklahoma, that was his strength. He wasn't even that good of a three-point shooter at Oklahoma, but he was really good at penetrating the defense and getting those floaters at about 10 feet within the basket. So if he can just add some size at the NBA level, that's all that's missing to his two-point arsenal. So you add that to his increasing three-point prowess. Again, Austin Reaves could be a really good role player. All he needs to do is pack on some weight.